Calaroga Shark Media.
From the sandy shores of Wildwood, New Jersey, where the only thing bigger than the beach crowds was the former president's ego, this is Ballot.
Today, Donald hits the beach. Biden taps Julia Roberts. No, not like that. And college kids walk out on Jerry Seinfeld. Let's hit this. But not like that. You guys have filthy minds. What's the deal with walking out on Jerry Seinfeld? Some folks at Duke University decided to spice up their graduation ceremony with a little political theater. Jerry Seinfeld, the legendary comedian and vocal supporter of Israel, was all set to deliver the commencement speech. But a group of students had other plans. As soon as Seinfeld was introduced, a bunch of them got up and walked out, chanting, "Free Palestine," and waving Palestinian flags like they were at a protest rally instead of a graduation. I mean, talk about killing the festive mood, am I right? Meanwhile, the other graduates and guests were shouting, "Jerry! Jerry!" like they were at a taping of his old show. I can only imagine the look on Seinfeld's face as he watched this whole scene unfold. Probably something like, "What's the deal with these protesters?" But ever the professional, Seinfeld powered through and delivered his speech without any major interruptions, unless you count the elephant-sized political statement in the room. Of course, this whole debacle stems from Seinfeld's outspoken support for Israel, which he's been quite vocal about ever since Hamas launched those surprise attacks back in October. The Jersey Shore was the place to be for MAGA mania this weekend. Former President Donald Trump rolled into Wildwood like a Category 5 hurricane of pure, unfiltered Trumpiness. He stood on a stage smack dab in the middle of the sand with his fiercest supporters gathered at the foot of Wildwood's famous Great White Roller Coaster. Because when you're holding a Trump rally, you gotta have some subtle phallic imagery in the background. The crowd was a veritable sea of pickup trucks decked out in Trump flags from up and down the East Coast. I'm talking license plates from Maine all the way down to Florida, because why resist a chance to get a sweet tan while worshiping at the altar of the former guy? One particularly dedicated supporter, Kelly Carter Courier, wore a literal Trump New Hampshire license plate around her neck as a stylish accessory. When asked about the country's direction, she ominously warned of World War III if the wrong person gets elected. Yikes, a bit much, don't you think, Kel? But hey, that's just Trump's core supporters being their usual passionate selves. A loud, proud, seemingly immovable bloc who've spent the last 8 years learning Trump's greatest hits like devoted groupies. And Trump didn't disappoint, delivering a predictable but rambling, expletive-heavy rally for the ages. He hit all the classics, slamming Biden on inflation by listing off hot dog and bacon prices, which got an understandable boo, calling himself more indicted than Al Capone, and of course, decrying the charges against him as Bull's **T, which prompted a rousing crowd chant of the same word. Stay classy, Wildwood! The festival atmosphere was in full swing, too. Digital signs blaring, "Make America Great Again," people camping overnight on the boardwalk, and vendors hawking brash t-shirts celebrating misogyny and transphobia. Nothing says family fun like a little hate merch. While Trump has little chance of actually winning New Jersey, Wildwood is a big red spot in a blue state. Plus, it's a popular vacay destination for Pennsylvanians whose votes Trump desperately needs to, well, stay out of prison, by the look of things. Speaking of Pennsylvania, Trump bizarrely claimed there were riots at Penn over pro-Palestinian protests. Yeah, no riots there, buddy. Just some peaceful protesting that you probably think is worse than the January 6th huddle at the Capitol. He also tossed some insults Chris Christie's way, referring to the former governor as a fat pig, among other niceties. But I guess that's just Trump being Trump, an insult comedian without the comedy. All in all, it was a true tour de force of Trumpian rhetoric and showmanship. The crowd lapped it up like the inebriated beachgoers they likely were. While the Democrats tried to downplay its relevance, you just know campaigns on both sides were taking notes for the next time they need to tap into America's underutilized beach bum voter bloc. Meanwhile, Joe Biden, who's so old he remembers when the grains of sand were full-sized boulders, is pulling out all the stops for his re-election campaign fundraising. He's lining up a star-studded event in La La Land that would make even the ritziest Hollywood premieres jealous. That's right, Next month, Biden is hosting a major money bash in Los Angeles, featuring none other than former President Barack Obama and Hollywood royalty George Clooney and Julia Roberts. Because what better way to rake in those campaign dollars than by trotting out some A-listers? This glitzy affair is expected to be a shot in the arm for Biden's fundraising at a crucial time when Donald Trump and the Republicans are aiming to close that cash gap now that the former president has secured the nomination. You know what they say? It takes celebrity wattage to battle an unstoppable political force like Trump. The event will feature the usual trappings. A contest with Clooney and Roberts run across social media to really engage those grassroots donors. Because what working-class American doesn't dream of rubbing elbows with acclaimed actors at a hoity-toity fundraiser? It'll be just like that episode of Veep. And of course, the two Oscar winners will be lending their famous names to campaign emails and texts, too. Because there's no better way to get people to open the endless stream of fundraising spam than putting Julia Roberts' moniker on it. The Biden team is hoping to recreate the magic of that NYC fundraiser in March with Obama and Bill Clinton that brought in a record-breaking $26 million haul. Hey, if you've got two former presidents on the bill, you may as well make it a three-ring circus and toss in some bona fide celebrities too. They're even planning another East Coast fundraiser with the Clintons early this summer, because nothing sells these days quite like the aura of the 90s. For months, Biden has had a big cash advantage over Trump, but his campaign knows that lead won't last forever. As one advisor put it, we're not under any illusion that he's not going to narrow the gap. It's campaign strategy meets midlife crisis, and a stellar example of why big money in politics continues to thoroughly corrupt the entire system. But hey, at least there will be beautiful people involved. You know, with all these A-listers and former presidents involved in Biden's campaign, I can't help but wonder if they helped get some AI assistance in writing today's show. I mean, surely some of these jokes have to be machine-generated based on how hilarious they are? See you tomorrow.